Hey Flirt, thanks for having me again. My name is Katora, and I'm going to talk about this week's topic, which is on Chris Brown losing his virginity at 8 years old to a 14 or 15-year-old girl. And one of the questions are, is it considered rape because Chris Brown lost his virginity at the age of 8 to a 15-year-old? And I will say, just answering that question alone, and from what I read, I would say it's up to him to define whether he considers his first sexual experience rape or him just losing his virginity. Um, I read that one of the reason is because he was watching porn at a really young age. He had a bunch of male cousins who were pretty much doing the same thing. Um, I read that he was saying that a bunch of kids in his community would lose their virginity at 10, 11, and considered it completely normal. Um, I like this topic because it hits home with me. I was first introduced to porn at a very, very young age, and I can say that it is traumatic for a child to be introduced to porn at such a young age. I knew things that I shouldn't have known. Innocence was gone at such a young age. My norm was totally considered different from other people's norms. So one of the things I want to talk about pretty much is how it's different in different communities. I went to school in the burbs and grew up in the inner city, and the things that both communities were doing was completely different. And they like had their own standard of what was considered prude and what wasn't. And also, so it's income that changes things. They said that the girl who was babysitting him was pretty much a neighborhood girl, so it's not like she was a professional babysitter. She probably has her own, traumatic story and as to why she does the things that she does. We don't know. All we know is that the way that Chris Brown is telling his story, I mean, he chuckled, so it wasn't traumatic. Um, in my opinion, like the difference between sexual abuse and rape is like the trauma. Like rape is just like I don't know, I guess more traumatic. Um, so for him, I would say that his first experience at 8 is probably sex abuse, because it will change the way you are going to be, especially towards females and just your daily interactions with people once porn and sex has been introduced to your life at such a young age. Um, yes, there is a double standard when it comes to male and female and losing their virginity. I feel like for anyone, 8 years old is a very young age. But seeing that porn was introduced to these kids' lives, they were constantly seeing sex in a hypersexual way, where it's like, oh, this is completely okay. I know I felt like it was okay when I was doing it. So I wouldn't say like my first time was traumatic or rape, but somebody else could hear my story in detail and maybe think twice about that. So I would definitely say it's up to the victim or the survivor and what they consider it to be rape or not. In my opinion, from reading these articles, Chris Brown doesn't consider it rape. And if he doesn't consider it rape, then it's not. And I know one of the arguments is like by law it's considered rape, but honestly, the law hasn't really been for the people. So, I mean, if we're going to go by everything that the law has said, the law has been against many people, has been against women, has been against black people. It the rape laws and all that doesn't protect women at all. So I don't really want to go based off of what the law is defining as rape. Um, I think in this case, he doesn't seem like he's been traumatized from it. I think maybe by the things that he's done is probably traces back to that experience. Who are we to judge anybody? Who are we to define other people's experiences? So as far as like the general 8 years old is a very young age for anyone. That alone does seem traumatic. Um, so thank you very much, guys. I hope you like my video and my points. Have a good day. Thanks.